subscribers. I am so thrilled to have you guys with me for this very special Valentine's Day pick-a card. And welcome if this is the first time you're joining me. My name is Odessa. I'm a Mystic Intuitive Healer, and I deliver messages through the cards that help you to awaken, heal, align, and grow. So I am working with 3 other incredible readers. We are each channeling unique love messages from a very special love goddess. I'm going to be channeling messages from the goddess Aphrodite, who also goes by the Roman name Venus. And Tay from Tarot with Tay is channeling messages from the goddess Oshun. Nicole from Divine Healing with Love is channeling messages from the goddess Hathor. And Carissa from 9 3/4 is channeling messages from the goddess Freya. So after you're done here, definitely go and check out their readings as well. I am always amazed at their accuracy, and I am so interested to see how all of the readings sort of mix together, because as I have had the pleasure of working with these ladies before, I've always found it really, really interesting how linked the messages are. So definitely go and check out their work. And if you're seeing this reading after Valentine's Day, that is totally okay. This is a timeless reading. So whenever you see it, I promise you there's going to be messages in this reading for you. And it also doesn't matter what your romantic status is. If you are partnered, single, looking, not looking, I promise there's going to be messages for you. So I have 3 piles for you guys to select from. Pile number 1 has the Aphrodite romantic love card, and it's partnered with the pink candle. Pink is a color associated with romantic love. And I've got the red ribbon here as well. And Aphrodite's color is red because it corresponds with passion and lust. And of course, candles are also symbolic of fiery passion. And I've got this charm here. Aphrodite is always accompanied by her friend Eros, also known as Cupid. So this little charm features Eros's face and wings. And there's also an amethyst crystal here. And then pile number 2 has the Swan card, which is a symbol for Aphrodite. Swans mate for life, so they're a symbol of love. And her most famous symbol is actually the dove, and this is a dove feather. And she very famously was born from the sea's foam, and she emerged from a seashell. And I'm sure many of you have seen the Botticelli painting Birth of Venus, where she is nude, standing on half of a seashell. So in honor of that, I have this charm that's mother of pearl. And then pile number 3 has the rose card, and that is her flower. And her crystal is rose quartz, which is also with pile number 3. And I have this vial of seashells that also ties back to her birth from the sea foam. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to select your pile. I'll give you a close-up of the cards and the items in just a moment, and I will see you at your pile. Hi, pile number 1, welcome back. So in today's reading, I am channeling messages from the goddess Aphrodite, and this is a very special collaboration with 3 other incredibly talented readers I'm working with: Tarot with Tay, Divine Healing with Love, and 9 3/4. So after you're done here, definitely go and check out their contributions as well, so you can get messages from the goddess Hathor, the goddess Oshun, and the goddess Freya. And you guys selected the Aphrodite card, as well as the pink candle and the Eros charm. And before we get into your reading, I just want to mention I'm running a contest right now. You can win a free reading with me. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, comment on this reading, or leave me an emoji. And then when I reach the milestone of 6,000 subscribers, I'll be announcing the winner in my community tab. So your first card is the Aphrodite card. It says romantic love, and there's the number 2 on this card, which is associated with partnership. Then you received the Soul Family card. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Then you have Cleopatra, famously the ruler of Egypt. And Queen Victoria on the throne in England. Followed by the luck card with the water symbol, Capricorn, number 31, and limes. Angel, helping those in need with no expectation of return, acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. Be Spirit, sweet results await, card number 7. The Inspiration card. Hand, in need of help, assistance, and guidance. Flowers, happiness. Yarrow, bravery and battle. Tulsi, wealth, the number 19, and Mercury and Jupiter. And Valerian, acceptance, card number 44 with Neptune. Okay, so pile number 1. What I am seeing here is that you are a little bit torn, is what's coming forward. You are either torn between 2 different people, or you are torn within your own heart and mind. It might involve another person. It might just be involving you, your own history, and trying to make a decision about what you want for the future. But there is definitely strong contrast here. It's like an energy of really pure independence, strong autonomy, really strong passion, desire, lusty energy, and then energy that's coming forward that is really strongly connected to commitment, partnership, and sort of a traditional life. Cleopatra was a fierce leader. She had to fight her way to the throne. She had to battle her own relatives. She was married potentially 4 times. It's kind of hard for them to decide exactly how many husbands she may have had because of limited records. We know for sure that she was married at least once to Mark Antony. She did have children, but she was very in control, very sensual, and she used all of her skills and assets to her benefit. She was smart and she made really wise decisions. She eliminated rivals and she used her sensuality, her sexuality, to create alliances with other powerful leaders like Caesar. Then we have Queen Victoria, who was married to Albert. They had an intense love affair their entire lives that they spent together. They were deeply in love. He was committed to her. She was committed to him. And they built a lot together. They had a huge family. And she mourned his death for her entire life. They were very traditional, and Queen Victoria is the namesake of the Victorian period, which is really connected back to kind of prudish attitudes about sex and sensuality. Even like the fashion, it's like people covered right from like their chin down to their toes. So there strongly is a contrast here because, as I've mentioned before, I love to bring this up, but my favorite story about Cleopatra is when she met Caesar for the first time and she was literally wearing like a net dress that showed her entire body. So between these 2 ladies, we've got some really strong contrast. And I mean, even with the charm that you selected with Eros, and then you pick the Aphrodite card. So Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty. Definitely had a number of different lovers. And then Eros is, in some stories, considered her son. In others, he's considered sort of her assistant. But his name, Eros, is connected to desire, as well as the name Cupid is literally translates, I believe, into desire, and he's connected to passion and like sort of carnal lust. So it seems to me like you might be sort of torn potentially between more than one lover. Maybe there is one lover that you're really, really passionate about. Like there's a lot of like desire there. Physically, you find them very enticing. They're really, really drawn to you, and you have a lot of amazing intimacy. And then there might be another option that's available that you're drawn towards, but you can tell that this is something more stable, and that might be even frightening to you. And maybe not all of you have another like stable partner. It might be a situation where you are trying to decide, like, is that where I want to go with my life? Am I ready now to settle down? Is that something that I ever want to do? And it looks to me like you're being guided to really listen to your heart. Listen to your heart and try and figure out what kind of future you want, because there's really no wrong answer. As long as you listen to your heart, you can't make wrong decision, right? Now, if you are a woman, a lot of women are faced with making decisions about whether they want to have children, right? Because there is a certain like cutoff time biologically, I mean, where it gets harder to have your own biological children. And so you might be faced with something like that, where you're like, well, I really am happy with my life. I like my independence. I'm making my own money. I like being the leader of my own life and not having to check with somebody else. And I like dating different people, and I like the passion and desire that I have in my life. And when things are working, I can move on to someone else or another situation that will make me happy. I don't want to necessarily share all of my resources and my time and sort of take care of another person. And maybe you've had really negative love partnerships in the past where maybe they were passionate, but there was also sort of a butting of heads. For some of you, you might have literally had like toxicity at play in the dynamic where you were sort of fighting for your independence and your partner was trying to control you, and you're a little bit concerned about going into another partnership. And I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that. You're being asked to look within, look within your heart, because your heart will tell you where you need to move forward. Her heart chakra and her solar plexus are glowing, and your solar plexus is your center for personal empowerment. It's right here. And if you can listen to your heart, you honestly cannot make a wrong choice. If you decide to move forward and try and find the right partner for you, Aphrodite and your guides and the love energy around you will help you to find the right partner. But you have to make that choice. You're co-creating with the universe. If you ask for help, help will be given. And I honestly feel like if what's holding you back is this feeling like you're going to lose your independence and you're going to end up in a partnership with the wrong person, I promise you, you can find someone who is on the same page as you, but you can't compromise. You have to remain really open-minded and optimistic about what you can have. You have to believe that the future can be sweet. You have to believe that the person that's going to come into your life will be the right partner for you, that they will also be bringing something to the table. They will have their own wealth and be grounded like Capricorn, like diligently working towards building a life with you. And they're not going to be like a Romeo that's going to basically F-boy, F-girl energy that's just going to like tell you what you want to hear, and they're not being authentic, right? Like with the angel card, like there's two sides to this angel here. One where the energy is very helpful and full of like sort of connection and partnership, and the other side where they're sort of like misleading you. And like I said, you may have had that energy in the past where there's like legitimate reasons why you fear this, or you've seen other people around you, right? Your parents, your friends, you know, they've been in sort of toxic dynamics, or maybe not even toxic, maybe just situations where they felt trapped and they weren't happy, right? It definitely, if you're a woman, it makes it harder to regain independence once you get married and you have kids, right? There's a lot of societal pressure on women to sort of like take care of the home, and in some cases some people end up married to people that end up being like another child. But that doesn't have to be your future if children and a partnership is something that you really want, whether if that's what your heart is telling you. But you have to be very specific. You have to call in help, get the universe to help you, and then be really clear about what you want. I recommend writing down a list. Write down a list of all of the qualities that you want to find in a partner, and be very specific. Do not fall for the trap of thinking, well, there is like not enough options out there, right? This scarcity mindset where like, I need to be practical and I can't have this long list of different things. That is a recipe for failure. If you think you cannot find the right match, then you won't. You have to be really, really, really certain and optimistic that you will find the right match for you to manifest the right person. But to find the right person, you also have to sort of like do some of the healing yourself, right? On your own limitations. So it's a pain in the butt. I'll be honest, I don't like doing it either. But I promise you it's necessary. So some of the limitations and the things that you're gonna need to heal from are your own self-limiting beliefs, right? Feeling like you're consistently gonna end up meeting toxic narcissists or something. Like, you have to get over that. And if that is one of your blockages, believe me, I understand. Because that's been one of my blockages, because I've met a lot of toxic narcissists. And if you are a very high vibrational, loving person, you have angelic energy, those kinds of people are drawn to you because you have healing energy. You're able to inspire them. You're able to help them get into alignment, like the number 7. And I get the sense that you're a very attractive person. Like, whether you feel you're attractive or not, other people definitely think you're attractive, right? Like, Victoria was not considered a sex symbol, yet Albert was like so in love. Like, he was so devoted to her. Like, I mean, there are so many children on this card. This card actually really reminds me of the 10 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles is a tarot card that's connected back to having a legacy, right? Building a huge family, or building a lot of wealth, and like having a lot of stability, long-term stability, and having, you know, like abundance within your family, within your, you know, within your lineage. And so, even if you don't think that you are attractive, other people are lusting after you. And I think that you have a lot more options available to you than you think. And it's time for you to start turning some of these options away. Do not see love as a battlefield. You do have to be brave. This is bravery in battle. You do have to be brave, but you have to be brave to battle yourself, the self-limiting beliefs. Don't feel like there are demons or monsters around every corner. Valerian was sometimes used to ward away evil spirits, and it would be hung in the windows to ward away this low vibrational energy. And then the rat here can definitely be a symbol associated with deceptive people. And there's lightning, which is also featured on the Tower card. So you may have really had like some tragic relationships, is what I want to say. But you can find someone who is high vibrational like you, soul family, but that means that you have to listen to your instincts. When you meet someone and the red flags are going up, you have to be brave enough to say, I trust my instincts. I trust what I'm being told, and I'm going to just shut this down. I'm not going to explore it. I'm not going to see what happens, because then you're going to get emotionally connected. And you definitely need to be careful when you're intimate with people, because they can attach an energetic cord to you, and then you get really attached to them, and it makes it really difficult to disconnect that attachment. And this goes for men and women. Women are not more susceptible to this than men. It goes both ways. You just need to be very, very careful, and you can definitely get energetic attachments as well. I mean, it's like parasitic energy from another person, specifically from like energy vampire type people. So basically, they're feeling crappy, and they might have a lot of low vibrational energy attached to them, and then they can pass it on to you, and you change your behavior. You start thinking about life in a different way. You become more pessimistic or suspicious, and that is not healthy. That's not going to help you to feel good. I'm sure many of you have had experiences like that before, where you emancipate yourself, you get out of a relationship that was maybe toxic, didn't make you feel very good. And then all of a sudden it's like your energy just like becomes lighter and you feel happier. Well, partially it's because of that person's energetic field, their aura, and how it influences you. So be mindful of that. When you get suspicious of someone, move away from them, because you have infinite number of options. You just have to be clear about what you want. And what I think many of you want is that long-term love, where you like, there's swans on this card, and swans mate for life. You want someone who is going to be your divine counterpart, someone who really gets you, who is really able to see things from a higher perspective. They're playful, they're emotionally available, they are very chill. You want someone who's able to roll with the punches. They're relaxed. You don't lose sleep over them. They're accepting of who you are. You accept them for who they are. They're bringing their own abundance and wealth with them. You don't have to constantly be cheering them on so that they get their butt off of the couch and they go and do something, right? You're going to be their number one cheerleader, but you don't have to constantly be like pushing them to do everything. You want someone who is there and, taking on jobs, right? Like, you don't have to like constantly write out like a honey-do list where it's like, can you please take out the garbage? It's like they're a teammate with you, and they're passionate, and they never lose that fire and desire for you. They have a strong libido, and I think that for some of you, you worry about being somebody's mom, and then, who wants to have sex with their kid, with a partner that you feel like you're mothering. Nobody wants to be intimate with a person that they don't see as their equal. And you do not have to have that partnership. You can absolutely have a beautiful partnership with somebody who is a teammate for you, who is excited, this will be a palate cleanser type relationship. But you just need to do a little bit of work beforehand. And it doesn't have to be hard. Doing shadow work doesn't have to be hard. It can be very liberating. There'll be times, obviously, where you'll get triggered. You cry, you shed tears, you move on, you get inspired, you move towards the things that you love. That's actually the best way for you to meet the right person is to continually pursue the things that you love, and then it's easier for you to find someone who you have something in common with. And of course, like I said, the universe is working in your favor. It's like going back to arrows. What's the story of arrows? Cupid, that he strikes their heart with an arrow and you fall in love. So, call on arrows, call on Aphrodite. I mean, even if you're not open to that kind of connection, if that's too mystical and strange to you, I mean, just meditate on that energy, the concept of the universe working in your favor, finding the right person for you, drawing them towards you. And energetically, you can do that. And honestly, you would be shocked at how aligned your person is when you meet them to what you wrote down. You will be shocked at how similar they are. So be very, very, very careful about what you're writing down. Don't just write down superficial things. And I don't say that with judgment. All of the superficial things are important too. You want to be attracted to them. You want them to have a job. You want them to look good, smell good, be interesting and charismatic. And it's nice to have someone who's impressive on your arm. But you want more than that too, right? Remember to write down all of the other things. What's their sense of humor like? Do they make jokes at other people's expense? Really be mindful of that. And that's why I recommend when you're writing down this list, take time. Don't do it all in one night, because there'll be things that you pick up on that you observe in other people's relationship. And you want to write that down. Now, I would also recommend that you write down things in a high vibrational way. So you're writing it down in an affirmative way. That I want a person who knows how to laugh at themselves instead of, doesn't make jokes at other people's expense, right? It's basically the same, maybe that's not exactly apples to apples, but you understand what I'm driving at. You want to write down the same kind of statements, but in a way that is very positive, because the more positive your mindset, the faster your manifestation comes to you. So let me get a couple of final cards here. Basically, I want to get some advice from the amazing goddess Aphrodite on what you need to do. What actions can you take in addition to what I've already filled you in on that will help you to embody this lesson or take action on the guidance she's already given you? What would you like pile number 1 to know? Okay, so let's see. This was the first card. 10 of Pentacles! What did I say? Oh my God, that is wild. So you can see the 10 of Pentacles, and then the Queen Victoria card. They're so similar. That is wild. I just love my work. Spirit is incredible. So yes, I think many of you are looking for this abundant, fulfilling life. Now, I do want to say this. Achieving the 10 of Pentacles does not mean that you have to get married and you have to have kids. This is just one dynamic that I am seeing. Your sense of 10 of Pentacles could be an entirely different life. It could be you meeting the love of your life, and you are even living in different cities, and you have enough money and resources to be able to join each other once a month, for a getaway vacation weekend where it's all romance and you live very independently. What I am saying is listen to your heart. What are you actually wanting out of life? What do you want out of love and partnership? Once you figure that out, don't compromise. Don't think that it's weird, it's different, I'll never find this. What will people think? Who cares what they think? And you can have anything that you want, because you are a master manifester. You're an infinite being. You live forever. You never die. You are literally the creator of worlds. So you need to start understanding that, and you need to start embodying that, because I am not exaggerating. You are literally creating your entire reality. And the sooner you realize that, the happier you're going to be. You got the sun. You know, embody that energy. For some of you, you are desperately wanting to have a child. That is going to be the source of your pure joy and happiness. There's children on both of these cards, and of course the Queen Victoria card. Now, this might be liberating your inner child, allowing yourself to have an entirely different type of life, something that is very unconventional, full of blessings and abundance, something that allows you to be this wild horse, wild and free. You don't have to be like everybody else. I get this sense that for some of you, you already have children and you're looking for someone who is going to join your family, and you might have convinced yourself, well, I'm a single parent. Who's going to want me? What do you mean? Who wouldn't want you? You're freaking amazing. You know, if somebody is so shallow and judgmental that they would eliminate you as a potential partner because you have a child, and they're like deeming that as baggage, whoa, red flag, we are running away. That is exactly what your guides are trying to warn you against. If someone says something like that to you, oh my God, thank the heavens that it came out when it did, so you can hightail it out of there. Because I guarantee you, that is nothing but a painful ending waiting to happen with the Ten of Swords. You may have already had a painful ending with someone like that. Beautiful. The Wheel of Fortune. Like, this is massive ending of a cycle. Like, you have the opportunity to get off of the hamster wheel. Like, if you've had lots of, you know, bad luck in love, if this is a situation where you're like going out on dates and you're connecting with people that have all kinds of toxic opinions about what they want and what they will accept, and they're, you know, a high value man, or, you know, they're an alpha or something. Like, that can be over for you like that. But you have to decide that you're not going to give those guys the time of day any longer. Yes, Three of Wands. Your ships are on the horizon, but there is more than one ship heading towards you. What kind of booty do you want to unpack? So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. This was incredible. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. I would love to know your thoughts on the reading. You can let me know in the comments or leave me an emoji if you'd like to be part of the contest. Do not forget to go and check out my beautiful collaborators. Like I said, they are incredible, and I know they won't disappoint. All of the links to their readings are below. And if any of you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one, you can go to my website, odessamall.com. All of my services and booking information are available there. I do tarot card readings, spiritual coaching, Reiki, past life sessions, and I also channel messages from your spirit guides. And if you have any questions for me about that, feel free to email me, and I would be happy to help you decide on the right service for you. So have an amazing day. I wish you a very happy Valentine's Day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, pile number 2, welcome back. So in today's reading, I am channeling love messages from the goddess Aphrodite. And this is a very special collaboration with 3 other incredibly talented readers I am working with: Tarot with Tay, Divine Healing with Love, and 9 3/4. So once you're done here, definitely go and check out their readings as well, so you can get messages from the goddesses Oshun, Hathor, and Freya. The links are below. So you guys selected the Swan card with the Mother of Pearl charm, as well as the Dove feather. And before I get started on your reading, I just want to mention that I'm running a contest right now. You can win a free reading with me All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, comment on this reading, or leave an emoji. And then when I reach the milestone of 6,000 subscribers, I will announce the winner in my community tab. So the very first card, as I said, is Swan Spirit. Time for a deep dive, number 60. And your second card is the Crumbling. What are you clinging on to? Then you have Protection, Call Back Your Power, Cut the Cords, Soul Retrieval. Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. Magical Child, and it says, seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible, pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. And Lemon Balm, Nurture, card number 52. And we have Jupiter on this card, followed by Ginkgo, Breakthrough, card number 39. And we have Mars on this card. Then Cannabis, Detachment, card number 31 with Saturn and Neptune. Hammock, taking a vacation physically or mentally. Rabbit, too much concern with sexual matters. Zolaria, Polymorpha, false fears, look closer. Badger Spirit, be fearless and bold, card number 4. Time, Banish Nightmares, mental health. Love with the tomato, the water symbol, Libra, card number 30. Trust, Basil, Fire, Scorpio, card number 21. Hugh Hefner, Lighten Your Load. And Coyote Spirit, Trust in Divine Detours, card number 17. So, pile number 2. It looks to me like you have been going through some hardships when it comes to love. It looks like there has been some painful points, possibly even a tower moment that you have endured. You might be going through that right now. You may have gone through that in the past, but it looks to me like this tower that the crumbling is indicating is definitely connected to love and partnership. I think that you have put a lot into your relationships. I think that you put a lot of weight on your own shoulders to keep a relationship going. I think that you are very protective of the people that you love, and when you love someone, you love deeply. You are looking for that everlasting love. You want a partnership that stands the test of time, like the swans mating for life. You're looking for your counterpart. But I think that you have faced a lot of partners that haven't really been honest with you. I think that they at times have really broken your trust, or maybe they told you what you wanted to hear and not necessarily the truth. I think that you may have partnered with people that were really sexually drawn to you, really, physically interested in you, but they didn't want to take all of you. They didn't want to see you as a complex person who had needs and desires, and they didn't want to take on the entire responsibility of the relationship. And I don't mean all the work. I mean their half of the responsibility to nurture and grow a relationship. They may have told you that they wanted to, but I get the sense that there were some lies that were shared or some twisting of facts, possibly some illusions at play. And I think maybe at times you saw some of the red flags, but because when you love someone, you commit 100%, you didn't want to redirect. You didn't want to move away from that person. Your energy is like ride or die. But I feel like the people that you're connected to do not honor that. They don't honor that vow in you. And I think to a certain degree they've been taking advantage of you. I get this sense that you acclimate to situations that are really not hospitable to a lot of other people, and I think that maybe dynamics that would be intolerable to others in terms of romance, possibly even friendships and work related as well. This can extend beyond just romantic partnerships. But you acclimate to harsh conditions quickly and easily because I think that you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like you need to do that. And the sense that I get is that this is a coping strategy that may have been developed from childhood. You may have grown up in a family where your needs were not taken seriously or considered, and there was a lot of responsibility placed on your shoulders, and the expectations that your parents had of you was that you were going to adapt to them and their needs. Possibly that there was this sense that love needs to be earned or that it's hard work. There could have been a number of different dynamics playing out. You may have felt ignored as a child and you would just try and be as like agreeable and pleasant as possible, hoping that as long as you don't cause any trouble, your parents will like love you and be there for you. You may have grown up in a family where there was some toxicity and the people around you weren't displaying really positive dynamics. They weren't modeling a really healthy relationship to you. And so you started to develop a pattern where like the unhealthy seemed normal to you. So you tolerate a lot more than maybe somebody else would. And I don't say that with judgment at all. We've all grown up in families that maybe had negative patterns that they passed down to us. I've never met a person that wasn't affected by some sort of unhealthy dynamics in their family. And the thing is that when you grow up around it, how would you know what is normal or healthy, right? Like you only know what you've already experienced. But I think that whatever has happened in the past, and maybe it was with your family, or maybe it was your community, and maybe it's society at large, right? I think that it's made you more susceptible to some of these unhealthy patterns in your adult relationships. And I think that some of you may have been placed in a situation where there was a lack of balance. It's possible that your partner was involved with another person, like there was a third party situation, and you had no idea and you found out later on. It's possible that your partner sort of manipulated the situation. You know, I think about Hugh Hefner, and there was a real power imbalance at play in these relationships. One of age and the other of influence, where he was their employer, but he was also their boss, and he had multiple girlfriends at one time. And I am not judging if somebody has an open relationship, but I think it would be hard to argue that there was not a power imbalance going on here. And I think that the society, like the energy of society as well, sort of like created this mystique around Hugh Hefner that his situation was sort of enviable, making these women feel like, oh, I'm just so lucky because I'm one of his top 3 girls or something. And so, regardless of how this played out, whether you had thought you were in an exclusive committed relationship or whether you were in an open relationship and the dynamics weren't favorable to you, or maybe you were in an open relationship and you had certain rules and regulations and your partner ignored those, and something that may have been okay if it had been in the open was done behind closed doors, and that was a break of trust. Regardless of how it played out for you, I think that it has really broken your heart. I think it's made you quite depressed and sad, quite fearful of the dynamic that's at play, fearful of losing your partner, fearful of losing the life that you've had, and also fearful of losing yourself. I think you are in a position right now where you think that you're quite depleted. And it's possible that the relationship is already over for some of you. And these are more shadows or memories from the past. But it looks to me like you're being asked to start protecting self. You're being asked to call your power back and start nurturing self. Start giving the love to yourself that you weren't afforded when you were young, that you weren't afforded when you were in certain relationships. It's possible that some of you have had this dynamic play out in multiple relationships. You know, like it's possible that every relationship you've ever been in has been toxic to some degree. And so you have lost hope to a certain degree. You've lost hope that it can be better or that there is any kind of balance. And you've been giving and giving and giving and giving and giving for so long that it's like it doesn't even seem abnormal to you, because that middle ground was lost like so long ago. For some of you, there is a little bit of gaslighting and deflection going on with your partner as well. For those of you where there might be another person involved, I feel like there might be like a rivalry, like your partner might be trying to incite some sort of like rivalry between you and the person that they cheated with, or their new girlfriend, or their new wife. There's some sort of like trying to pin the energy I get is 2 women against each other. And it's sort of this triangulation is typically what it's referred to as. And the energy I get is that you might be experiencing some evil eye from your partner, possibly from their new partner or the other person. But I want you to remember that ultimately it's your partner that's at the center of this. They're culpable. It's possible that the other person that they were with, if this part of the message relates to you and your story, if it doesn't, then just disregard what I'm about to say and just take what resonates. But for those of you who are with someone who is potentially seeing someone else, it's possible that that other person did go out of their way to seduce your partner and lure them away from you. 100% that can happen. But from what I have found, most of the time, it is the partner. Typically, it's a man, the masculine, that is culpable. And there is this pattern of deflecting blame by pinning the women against each other. And I just want you to remember that your partner is the one that made a promise to you. Even if this other person is causing you problems, your focus needs to be on your partner. Placing blame where blame is due. Because I do think that with this Scorpio, there might be some things that are being hidden from you. There might be some deception. I also get that from the coyote spirit. Now, overall, even with all of this going on, because I do feel like there's drama going on, possibly arguments and fighting. It could be because of the third party situation, but it might just be in your relationship in general. You know, there might not be a third party situation or cheating or anything like that for all of you. But regardless of what is going on, it seems like there's an unhealthy relationship, an unhealthy balance, a destabilization. I think that maybe there is some defensiveness that comes in when you're trying to communicate with your partner from possibly both sides. Because the Badger can be very aggressive. It can be an aggressive energy, talking about a lot of fighting. And I think that with the false fears look closer and the banished nightmares and even the raven spirit here, it looks to me like there are definitely some, and there's the eclipse here, the lunar eclipse. So it looks to me like there's some pain from the past, some trauma from your own life, and trauma that your partner needs to deal with from their childhood, from their life, that the two of you seem to be sort of triggering each other. And ultimately, it looks like that's exactly why you were brought together. But I think that you are seeing this as we can rise above, we can heal each other, we can take each other to a place of solace and comfort and love. And there's, of course, always the possibility for that kind of healing to take place in a love relationship, but it has to be mutually desired. And I get the sense that your partner will tell you what you want to hear. They'll say, yes, I want those things. Yes, I want to work on it. And they'll be very complimentary and tell you a lot of beautiful things, especially after conflict or after they've been found out doing something that they shouldn't. But the follow through isn't there, right? And you need to be really paying attention to what they're doing, not just what they're saying. Because I think that to a certain degree, there might be some magical thinking going on here. Like, I think that you are a very optimistic, free-spirited, sensitive person. I think that you really want to believe in love and magic and the fairy tale. And the fairy tale can exist, but the fairy tale is created when people put in 100% of their effort into creating that magic together, co-creating together, right? And I think that you're being taken advantage of, and you are possibly being not really honored and respected for what you bring to the table. I think that for some of you, you kind of nurture and comfort, possibly even parent your own partner. You take on a lot on your shoulders with the lighten your load card. It's like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And I think you do this in more than just your romantic relationship. I think you probably do this for friends and family as well. Whereas your partner seems to be like kicking back and taking it easy. And a lot of the conflicts might come from little things like, can you please help me do the dishes? I really, I'm so tired and I really need the help. And your partner is like, well, I worked all day too. And like, how selfish of you to ask me to do that when, you know what's going on with my sister and I'm so stressed out. And like, they guilt you into feeling like, oh, you're right. I want my partner to be okay. And they know exactly what they're doing. They're saying all the right things to get you to put your needs aside, focus on them, and allow them to get by with the bare minimum. And I think that this is actually all by design. It might be a karmic connection, and you're looking for this soulmate, divine counterpart energy. And ultimately, none of what's been happening between the two of you is lost. Like, it's not useless because you're learning things from this. But when it's a karmic connection, there will become a point where the tower falls, and that is the moment where basically your ego is stripped away from you. The veil is stripped away from you. You see things clearly. And then it's time for you to start rebuilding. And oftentimes that is on your own, so that you can pull yourself together and become stronger. So you can detach from the unhealthy patterns, not just the person, but the patterns. So you can start to look at what you actually want in life, to start looking closer and really seeing things clearly, so that you can start trusting that the universe has everything planned and all changes are working out in your favor to illuminate the truth, to help you truly banish the nightmares, the people, but as in addition to that, the thought processes and the patterns that you have, the coping strategies possibly that you have that lead you back to the same people that hurt you over and over and over again, the people that are deceiving you and lacking in balance and cheating on you. And I think that it's time for you to take all of that beautiful energy that you keep giving to people that aren't reciprocating, and you need to start pouring that into yourself, right? Start valuing your love as a beautiful resource, that it's precious like gold. And you don't need to receive love from an outside source for it to be worth something. Your love is also valuable. It has currency, it has weight. So you can pour that into self, and that is not a selfish act. If when you pour time, energy, love, attention into self, if you feel guilty by that, there's a good chance that when you were young, you were taught that love is conditional, and if you are going to receive love, you have to earn it, and the way you earn it is by doing things for other people. But ultimately, those people that you were doing all of these things for weren't reciprocating it, and you got used to that. And as a child, you should have been allowed to be a child. You should have been able to be free and loved regardless of how you acted or what your responses were to things, because you were growing, right? There was a power imbalance within that dynamic as well, right? You were a child, your brain was still developing, you were learning coping strategies, you were learning how to really understand your emotions and find ways of controlling and working through your feelings. And it's possible that your parents weren't able to, regulate their own emotions, and that's why they didn't pass that on to you. But that's the responsibility of adults to say, okay, I didn't have the best upbringing, but I'm going to go through a transformation. I'm going to become reborn. I'm going to look within, right? The mother of pearl is on the inside of a shell. I'm going to look within for those pearls of wisdom. I'm going to look at all colors of myself, and I am going to accept who I really am. I'm going to look at the discomfort. You know how mother of pearl is created? That inside a shell, there's been a little bit of sand that's gotten in, and the mollusk is trying to smooth it over, smooth it over, smooth it over. Instead of just spitting the sand out, it just smooths it over, and then we end up with this beautiful coloration, right? It's their responsibility, and equally, it's our responsibility now as adults to look at where that discomfort is and tear that band-aid off, being brave enough to look at that, and then pouring unconditional self-love into ourselves. The dove is a symbol of love, and birds in general are a symbol of seeing things from a higher perspective. That is our jobs, and that is what your parents were responsible for. And if they didn't do it, then maybe they will in the future have an epiphany, and maybe they won't. And maybe it will be the next lifetime for them, right? We're all at different points on the same path. And just because they weren't able to provide for you then doesn't mean that you can't provide for yourself now and liberate yourself from whatever tactics you have that sort of band-aid the wound, right? That just sort of like try and smooth over the sand and grit that's inside your mouth. And your partner might have some of these negative coping strategies as well. Like maybe there is addictions of some kind, whether it's to intimacy or, drugs or alcohol, or, lying, deception. It could be any of those things. There might be anger issues. And this could go either way. This could be elements coming from both of you. But I think it's now time to really be honest with yourself and start to have those mental breakthroughs. And it will come for you. The illumination, like the insight. But you have to be ready for it. You have to also surrender to your guides and ancestors and ask them for the help. Right now we're moving away from the full moon and we are moving towards the new moon. This is a time period that's all about releasing the things that hold us back. I'm not saying that you have to walk away from your partner right now, but there are coping strategies and sort of illusions that definitely need to be released. It's possible that some of these things, if it was released, you'd actually have a healthier relationship with your partner. Maybe there are illusions and deceptions that you have regarding your partner. Maybe there are elements that you are sort of focused on achieving with your partner that they can't possibly fulfill, and you will come to a place of deeper love and understanding once you are able to release that. But likewise, that could be about self, like you're holding yourself to a really high standard and you need to let that go. And then for some of you, it might actually be the person that needs to be released. So let's see whether we can get some final advice from Aphrodite about your situation. What final love advice do you have for pile number 2? What final love advice do you have for pile number 2? All right. Oh my God. Oh, I love it. So you have received the 10 of Cups, the 8 of Wands, the Strength card, and the World. If you can find the strength to surrender, to be gentle with self, to nurture self, to be the parent to your own inner child who still exists, who is inside you, paying attention to everything that's going on, who feels fear, who gets triggered, who sometimes pulls forward all of that pain and anguish that you don't want to deal with. It just bubbles up, and I'm sure you've experienced it. We all have those moments when, especially when you're around like your parents or family members, and all of a sudden you're reduced down to that like 6-year-old that you used to be, full of anger or pain or sadness. That little child is still inside you and needs that nurturing. And you will be able to learn how to emotionally regulate and nurture self. And that's when everything changes. That's when you're able to come into alignment with what your life could be. And you can move into this energy so quickly. And along with that, all kinds of other shifts and changes will take place for you. You change your mindset and all of a sudden the people around you start shifting and changing. In some cases, you lose some people, right? Some people that aren't ready to accept that healed version of you will drift away. And that can be sad, but they will be replaced with people that really honor and respect you. The Ten of Cups. Complete fulfillment on an emotional level, truly experiencing what unconditional love means, having a happy partnership with another person, having happy children that are not dealing with the same things that you had to deal with. Really seeing the colors as brighter and more vibrant, seeing the magic all around you, like living inside a rainbow, really feeling that magic all around you. And that's when this cycle, this painful cycle, ends. The World. Last card of the major arcana. When you gain mastery to such a degree that so many things are aligning, it's like your whole reality shifts. You truly become an entirely different person. You become the leader. You're able to see things from a higher perspective. You have unconditional love and compassion for self and others. But you also are able to stand your ground, hold your boundaries, and then dedicate the energy that you're not wasting on, situations that will never work out in your favor. You reassign that energy, you repurpose that energy towards things that you would like to achieve in your life, whether that is into your work or your business, and you're creating more financial wealth, or you're building more friendships, or you're picking up a hobby. It's a reallocation of the resources you already have that will then balance out that energy so that you have fulfillment. And the portions of you that are not being seen by the world are likely the portions of you that you're hiding because of shame, that are at the core of who you truly are, right? This process of accepting is accepting all of the things that you feel shame and guilt about. You likely have made the wrong decisions in the past at some point, or said the wrong thing, or hurt somebody, but equally others have done the same thing to you. And you can forgive yourself. You were so easily and willing to forgive them. Give yourself that grace. You deserve that. We are here to learn lessons and grow. So you're not going to get it all right, and that's okay. Spirit, your ancestors, God in general is okay with that. That's why you are here, and you are loved unconditionally. You are worthy of love. You are a beautiful, magical being who is able to create so much beauty in your life. You don't see yourself as you really are. You truly are an infinite being who lives forever, who never dies, who can literally create your own life. You are quite literally the creator of worlds. And you need to start thinking about yourself that way. Now, everyone else is a creator of worlds as well. And so you can see the light in them. But if someone else isn't going to see that light in you, then maybe you're not a vibrational match, and it's not going to bring you to this place of true alignment, right? There are 7 colors in the rainbow. There are 7 chakras. It's all about alignment. And you deserve that. You deserve some peace. You've put in the work. And you might not be ready to make this shift and change right now, and that is okay. But I recommend that you start thinking about what you want out of life, right? At least start coming up with a list of things that you would really like to experience, and try and carve out a little bit of time every day to nurture and pamper self, right? even if that is just looking in the mirror and saying, you are wonderful, you are beautiful, you are worthy of love, you are intelligent, you can create anything, you are going to be so successful. What you are seeking is seeking you. The people that you want to be around are instantly going to see your light and be magnetized to you. Like, these are the things that you need to start saying to yourself. And like, initially it's going to feel weird and you're not going to be able to just rattle off a whole bunch of things like I just did, but it gets easier and you get stronger. And you have a whole team of spiritual guides around you cheering you on, including me, including everyone else in our community. All those people in the comment section that I chat with during my readings, you're all part of this beautiful family. And I want you all to know that you're loved and you're special, and you know, we're all cheering each other on. So that concludes your reading. I hope that the messages that came forward resonated for you. I would love to know your thoughts. If you want to leave me a comment, or if you want to leave an emoji so you can be part of the contest, that would be amazing. Definitely go and check out my collaborators' readings and let me know how things connect. I'd love to know what you guys thought of the collaboration and how the readings might have overlapped. And if any of you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one, that would be amazing. I do tarot card readings, spiritual coaching, Reiki, past life readings. I also can channel messages from your spirit guides. And if any of you have questions about my services or you need help deciding on the right service for you, feel free to email me. I'd be happy to help you figure that out. So have a wonderful day. I am sending you so much love, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, pile number 3, welcome back. So in today's reading, I am channeling messages from the goddess Aphrodite. And this is a very special collaboration with 3 other incredible channels. I am working with tarot with Tay, divine healing with love, and 9 3/4. So once you're done here, definitely go and check out their readings as well. You'll be receiving messages from the goddess Oshun, Hathor, and Freya, and you can find the links below. So you guys selected the Ever Unfolding Rose card with the vial of seashells and the rose quartz stone. And before I get into the reading, I also want to mention I'm running a contest right now. You can win a free reading with me. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, comment on this reading, or leave me an emoji. And then when I reach the milestone of 6,000 subscribers, I will announce the winner in my community tab. So let's get started. The Ever Unfolding Rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. And then your second card is Leap. You go first. The universe will catch you. Elizabeth I, one of the longest reigning monarchs in British history. Joan Collins, the romance novelist. Closure. Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation, card number 6. The Success card with Peppermint, the fire symbol, Libra, card number 20. Cherry Blossom, fleeting things, appreciate the moment. Storyteller, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols, making up tales that harm others. Gong, an exciting event. Yarrow, the harmony card with the number 15 and the Venus symbol. Babinsana, which is the card number 8, and it says trust with the moon and Neptune. and Angel's Trumpet, Death, with the number 46, and Mars. All right, so pile number 3. It looks to me like you are completing a cycle. You might have had many different cycles begin and end over the course of your life. Many different love affairs is the energy that I'm getting. You may have had a lot of short-lived romances or opportunities for love that may not have developed into actual relationships, but desires for love that never really blossomed to the full extent that you were hoping. They seem to be very fruitful. You were very happy. You thought this could really be something successful. There was a lot of desire and passion, and you were really starting to trust this person or these people, and you thought, wow, this might be it. This might be my forever. And I think that at least once, but I suspect probably more than once, these love affairs or connections sort of abruptly ended. And I think that that was really, really, really painful for you. I think that the end of these cycles has affected you in a way where it's actually affecting your own sense of self-worth. And I think it's affecting your faith in the universe. You're wondering if there is any kind of plan, and you have questions about the sort of like motivations or the focus of a spiritual body. Like, why would this even happen to me? You know, why do I have to experience this kind of pain? For some of you, you may have gone through a number of long-term relationships, or you've been married more than once. There might have been divorce, or just the ending of a long-term partnership where you actually had assets or you were living together, something really serious like that. Like Joan Collins has been married a number of different times. But then on the flip side, Elizabeth I was never married. She, one, was a monarch at a time when women were not accepted in roles like hers. And for her to maintain her power, she had to be very, very smart. And she also had to forego getting married or having children. Now, I suspect that she may not have wanted to do that anyways. This might have been a blessing in disguise for her, because her parents were Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Her father publicly executed her mother for adultery and witchcraft. And I don't think that that would have been able to pass by Elizabeth without having any kind of effect. Not only that, Henry VIII also executed other wives after Anne. Anne was the first that he put to death, but not the last. And I suspect that that probably had a traumatizing effect on her. And she may have been very distrustful of men, powerful men in power. Although I'm sure she loved her father, I would say that she probably had some trauma that would have needed to be worked through for her to really be able to feel comfortable and secure in a relationship. And maybe you also witnessed an imbalance in power or toxic dynamics in your home life that either made you gravitate towards people that you would sort of play out this same dynamics with, unbeknownst to you, of course. We never do any of this stuff, like knowingly. It just sort of happens. It's all subconscious. But it might have also been a situation where you witnessed this with other people and you decided, I don't really want to go there. I don't want to risk it at all. I definitely get this sense though that your guides are encouraging you to start looking at this from a different perspective. They're asking you to start looking at this as potentially a learning opportunity. You know, when you're asking why me, or why does this happen to people that are, you know, amazing people? Why do, you know, relationships have to be toxic? Why do people show a lack of remorse for their behavior, or feel entitled to live their lives a certain way? Or like, why do they betray or behave, you know, toxically towards their partner? And it is a terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing. But from my perspective, I see everything as an opportunity for us to learn and grow. And the only reason that that becomes palatable to a certain degree, where it's acceptable, where I can see it as a horrible event, but not a crippling event, where I can still have faith and spirit, is the fact that I know that we're infinite beings. We live forever. We never die. So in this moment, there might be hardship, but there's always another opportunity to be reborn. And you learn the most from the pain, and sometimes we sacrifice ourselves. I mean, from a spiritual perspective, like, we agree to come in and take on hard lessons because we are going to either learn something for ourselves on a soul level, we're going to have that kind of growth, or we're balancing karma, or we're being the master teacher to another person, right? There's a lot of different ways you can teach someone. And it's a selfless act, which ultimately brings about a lot of really good karma. And then a lot of these other really painful events, like something like really grand, like Anne Boleyn, that like set the course of history, you know? Like, there are so many different reasons why these things happen. Some of them we're able to witness, and some of them we're not, because we're all interconnected. And it's like the butterfly effect. There might be some reason this happened to you that's affecting someone else in the world, or it's going to affect your story long term. But the important thing to remember is that you have the ability to change the narrative. You have the ability to rewrite the narrative so that you are the champion. So you're the victor. So, you know, you're not damaged or the villain or the victim in any way, right? Because all of this is a story. Like, the past is fleeting. All we have are our memories and the story that we tell ourselves. So what's your story? Are you telling yourself that you're unlovable and you're difficult and you're a failure because these relationships ended? Because that can be who you are if that's how you define yourself and that's the story you tell yourself. But with the exact same facts, you could look at that same dynamic and you could say to yourself, wow, look at how lucky I am to have had all of this experience in love, to be able to learn about love from all of these different perspectives, with all of these incredible people, all of these rich stories that build the tapestry of my life. Maybe I'm going to start writing my own books. Maybe I'm going to take my experience and apply it to my life in some other creative way. Maybe all of these experiences that I had weren't deaths, weren't closures. They were the opening of something greater. They were the catalyst for me going on this great adventure where I was going to have success. Now I have the key. I can open the door. And this isn't happening to me. It's happening for me. And I'm surrendering. I can crack myself open because it's like the seed. And from that seed, a beautiful rose bush is going to grow. And all of this hardship, all of these painful endings were like the beaver cracking the branches off of the dead limb, then dragging it over to that perfect spot where it was going to build its dam. You know, like something had to be lost for the beaver to be able to build the dam. The tree limb had to fall. The tree maybe had to die. But then the solid foundation was built. So how do you look at your own life? And do you define yourself and your value and the worthiness of your love by the connections that you have to another person? Or are you completely emancipated, standing on your own? Everyone knows who Elizabeth I is. Even if you don't know what her name is, she's iconic. The powdered wig, the makeup, like she defined her time. You get to do that too. So did Joan Collins. Iconic women. You don't need to have love and partnership to be important, to be the main character of your own life. Like all of these beautiful love affairs that you've had can be like the rich seasoning of your life. But just because they ended doesn't mean that you're a failure. That's just the story that you are telling yourself. And you are creating your future. So every single story you tell yourself, all of these failures that you're defining as such, are writing your future. So by writing these stories of failure, you are closing doors so that you will perpetuate that. And you have the opportunity to decide that you want a different future. You know, are there, if you really looked at the dynamic of what has taken place in these relationships and you were really honest with yourself about every one of these dynamics, are there any of those people that you truly, if you were really honest with yourself, you would really want to be with them? Or is it more the idea of being in a long-term partnership that is appealing to you? Because if it's the idea of the relationship, that's societal pressure. And if you identify as a woman or you're femme presenting, there are stereotypes of what we're supposed to fall into. You know, we are supposed to be with a, you know, in a classic sense, women are supposed to be with men, and we're supposed to be beautiful and petite and quiet and supporting and self-sacrificing and mothers, caregivers, nurturers. And that I don't think is fulfilling to all women. You know, it is for many women, but not all women. I don't even think it would be fulfilling to half of women. Elements of it, sure, but all of that, I don't think so. And so be honest with yourself about who you are and what you really want. You know, like if you want to have a fulfilling relationship that's long-term, great. You can have that. I promise you, you can have that. But it requires self-reflection. It requires you to get to a place of peace and harmony within yourself where you're consistently seeing yourself as the queen, the empress that you are. And then you start to cultivate. What seeds are you going to plant? You know, maybe you've been planting cherry blossoms, which only bloom for like a week, right? The rest of the time, it's just this beautiful tree, but there are no blossoms. So maybe you want to start planting something that flowers year round, and you need to go after an entirely different partner. Or you need to be very particular about the people that you invest time and energy into, right? Not overlooking red flags, not, you know, giving them the benefit of the doubt. If they're not right, they're not right. So don't waste time, move on. You don't need to give people second and third chances. And you also have to get past any kind of poverty mindset where you think that, oh, well, there isn't enough. Because there is. You're creating everything in your environment. You're creating everything in your future while you're co-creating with the universe. And given enough time, you will align with what you actually want. But it does take a leap of faith. You have to surrender to spirit, and you have to actually trust that you can do this, right? That this can be yours, that time is an illusion, that there are no doorways that are ever completely closed off to you unless you close them off for yourself, unless you decide that isn't something I want. Not everything is going to come to you the way that you thought it would, right? Like, you may have thought, oh, I'm going to get married when I'm 20, and then I'm going to have my first kid when I'm 25, and I'm going to retire at 50, and like, you have all these dreams, and it doesn't work out that way, right? Maybe that wasn't your life plan. Maybe there's a whole bunch of karmic lessons you had to deal with. Who knows? There's all kinds of hiccups, like, I'm psychic, and I know a lot about my life, and I'm still, like, have all kinds of things like come out of left field, and I'm like, seriously? Really? I thought we had an agreement here. I thought we were on track. And then it's like, detour, and I'm like, oy, oy, oy. I don't want to do this. But I just have to surrender and trust that it's leading me somewhere that I need to go or that I want to go, and I just didn't know that this was the path. And I just opened myself up to changing the narrative, changing the story I'm telling myself, and seeing things as an adventure. And I think that you need to start doing that as well. And also be open-minded to maybe going about things in a new way, really like flexing your problem-solving skills. If this, because I see love, I'm predominantly focusing on romantic love, but love is love. So love can be between you and a romantic partner. It can be between you, like platonic, between you and friends. It can be familial, you and your family, you and your neighbors, you and your children. Maybe you always wanted to be a parent, right? And you weren't able to be a parent for various reasons. Maybe there was health problems that restricted your fertility or your partner's fertility or timing, or you were working on your career, and like there were things that got in the way. But that doesn't mean you can never be a parent. You can be a parent in a different way. And it's also about being adaptable and open to that, because like I said, I believe in reincarnation, and I think everyone is infinite. So maybe you've been a parent in a traditional way 100 times in past lives, and now it's time for you to break that mold and try things in a different way. So be open to the adventure, because it's adding to the rich tapestry of your life. So let's get some final cards and see what Aphrodite would like you to know about love. Pile number 3. What would you like pile number 3 to know? What would Aphrodite like pile number 3 to know about love? Okay. Beautiful. Like, this is wild. 4 cards, and 3 of them are major arcana. You got the Ace of Wands, followed by the Hermit, the Magician, and Temperance. So this is exactly what I was talking about. So you have the ability to have a fresh new beginning. You have the ability to have more yeses take place in your life than nos. You can take swift action, and you can really quickly change things in your life if you start working with spirit. But to do that, there has to be some self-reflection. Maybe it's time right now, and I think many of you may already be in this reclusive energy where you're withdrawing and you're hibernating. You are healing your wounds. And if you can start to reflect and possibly meditate, you should be able to, with time, get in tune with your heart center and really figure out what lights you up. What is it that really, 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 sets your heart on fire? What kind of relationship do you want? What kind of relationship do you want to have with another? What kind of relationship do you want to have with self? Where is the balance between that as well with temperance? How do you find that balance between what happened in the past and how you view the future? Because the past is written, but the past is also the past. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to also be your future. You have the ability to shift and change things, but you have to want to change things. You have to take action on things. You have to be nurturing to self, heal the wounds, and you also have to be willing to let go of the illusions. And illusions can be, overly romanticizing a person who's hurting you, seeing things through rose-colored glasses. But equally, the illusion could be that you're damaged, you're broken. Like, maybe for some of you, you're feeling like you're too old for love. Who's going to want you? Or, there is something else about you that you feel is unlovable. Like, maybe you're too successful, right? Like, maybe you have too much power. And if you are a woman, that can be a limitation to a certain degree. There are certain men that will not want to date a powerful woman who makes a lot of money and is in control of their life. Those are the last men in the world that you are going to want to date. Those are not the top quality guys. Those aren't the guys that the universe wants you to be with, or the women. Like, this is not, I shouldn't have gendered it like that, because literally anyone could feel that way about you. It does tend to be more men that feel that way than women, though. Those are not the right people for you. So don't even consider them. Don't even waste any brain cells thinking about them or wondering about what they want or how to adapt. No. You need to start manifesting what you actually want. So I would say start off by getting yourself to a place of equilibrium and peace, where you feel as good internally as you do just in the balance of your own life, right? So get to a place where, like, just if you're recovering from a breakup or a loss and you're feeling sad and depressed, start with just getting back into your regular routine. If you've lost touch with that, like you're making meals again, and you're participating in the hobbies and the, engaging with the friends that maybe you lost touch with, all of those things. Get that in balance first. Simultaneously, I would say start nurturing yourself. Really start talking to yourself in a different way, that you're abundant, you're beautiful, you can have anything you want. There will be times through this process where doubt might come in. Just allow that to drift away, right? That's just the ego mind popping up to say hello. It's irrelevant. You don't need to listen to your ego cut you down. It's like an auto recording. Erase the tape. Start talking to yourself in a different way. And eventually that negative voice will be re-recorded over, and it will tell you positive, beautiful things. But you need to get into a practice of reaffirming yourself. And then once you get to a place where you're like, yes, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling balanced, I love myself, then you want to start focusing on a new partnership, if that's what you want. And really get clear about what you're looking for. Like, what does this person bring to your life? You know, what kind of qualities do they have? How do they treat you? How do they treat other people? You know, talk about the superficial things like the attraction, but go beyond that as well. You know, how do your lives blend together? Like, what do you want? What is your ideal? Because maybe some of these short-lived relationships broke down because you have a unique way of living or loving, and you need to find someone who is on the same page as you, not just trying to accommodate you. They're actually wanting the same things as you, and you can manifest that, but you got to get clear about what you want. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. That concludes your Aphrodite love reading. This was such a pleasure, and I would love to know your thoughts on the reading and how it resonated for you. Definitely go and check out my collaborators' readings as well, and let me know whether they blend together with the messages I've shared with you guys. And if you leave a comment or an emoji, that enters you into the contest. And if any of you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one, you can go to my website, odessaandI.com. All of my services and booking information are available there. I do tarot card readings, spiritual coaching, Reiki, past life readings, and channeled messages from your spirit guides. And if you have any questions or you need help deciding which service would be best for you, feel free to email me. I'm always happy to help. So have a lovely day. It has been such a pleasure working with you guys once again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care.